Hello everyone and welcome back to my B&B Everyday YouTube channel. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Before we start, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. It feels a little simulated for Carter Walton to be going up against Steffy Forrester out of nowhere, but at least it's commodity different. Now that Steffy and Carter are being leveled against each other as business rivals, we've to take a near look at the conflict and figure out who to bet for. Are you Team Steffy or Team Carter? For starters, we should admit that Steffy is co-CEO, so she's Carter's master. You could clearly argue that Carter is into steaming that, especially since he went before Steffy's back to arrange the revived jewelry line pitch. B&B suckers also can't ignore the fact that Carter's belief in Hope for the future didn't be until he was trying to get Hope Logan in bed. This has come bigger than just Hope's line, but there's no denying that Carter wants to help Steffy's longtime adversary. And that's playing a part in this feud as well. Part of Carter may want to crop victorious over Steffy because of how she's hindered Hope. That said, there's some verity to Carter's claims that Steffy has let particular issues affect business opinions. Steffy was against Brooke Logan taking center stage on the Brooks Bedroom reboot, but she was wrong grounded on the successful figures. It's easy to see why Carter might push back in other situations where he thinks Forrester Creations can succeed. No matter what Steffy's history resentments are. It seems like Steffy could have at least looked at Ivy Forrester and Electra Forrester's designs before shutting the whole jewelry line down. Is Steffy really that busy that she couldn't tromp down to the salon and take a regard? Considering all the breaks Steffy takes to make out with John Finnegan, she surely could have set up the time. That doesn't mean Steffy had to authorize, but the fair thing to do would have been to check out the jewelry designs and also make the decision. On the other hand, perhaps Steffy felt the need to establish some boundaries and let Carter know it wasn't okay to ambush her. It could have been a power move designed to put Carter in his place. And perhaps Carter indeed deserves to be put in his place a bit then. Nethermost line, there are good reasons to support either side of this Forrester Creations contest, which is only going to toast up now that Carter's got another pitch on the horizon. Steffy Forrester was cautious of supporting the revived jewelry line, but Ivy Forrester and Carter Walton worked hard to pitch her on the idea. Steffy ultimately asked Electra Forrester to leave the room, which gave her a chance to call Ivy out for being insulting. Since Ivy acted like Steffy was letting their particular history get in the way, Steffy claimed that wasn't the case. Still, Carter felt that Ivy had a right to question Steffy's station, since she had a habit of letting particular passions get in the way of good business. In the end, Steffy refused to indeed look at the jewelry display that Ivy and Electra had set up in the salon. After Steffy declared that her decision was final, she said she had other effects to do. Once Ivy exited, Carter stood there glaring at Steffy before storming out. Carter apologized to Ivy and Electra, but they knew he was doing his stylish. Ivy suggested they'd more clean up the display they'd set up and headed out to the salon soon after. In the design office, Hope Logan told Will Spencer that he could have a target on his reverse since he was a Logan. Hope made a vaticination about Will having to work doubly as hard to prove himself to Steffy, but he wasn't upset. Indeed, so Brooke Logan allowed. Will should heed Hope's warning since there was indeed a Forrester Logan feud at the company. Subsequently, Will banged into Electra in the corridor, so she dropped a jewelry charger. And repentant Will climbed to pick effects up. So he was on bended knee presenting a ring to Electra as they locked eyes for the first time. Both Electra and Will got flustered, but they ultimately changed prelusions and grins. Once Electra gave Will updates on the jewelry line pitch he allowed. That was cool. Will also slipped the dropped ring on Electra's cutlet as the chemistry crepitated between them. When Brooke set up Steffy in the CEO office, she could tell Steffy was detracted. Steffy admitted Carter had been a little off base and honestly flat out wrong recently, so Brooke assumed this was about Carter's support for Hope and her line. Back with Carter on Wednesday's B&B occasion, he slammed in the design office and complained to Hope about Steffy shutting down the revived jewelry line. Steffy nixed it without indeed giving it a regard, so Carter wanted to stop these petty particular dockets that had no place at Forrester Creations. Hope allowed. It was a brilliant idea to bring Ivy back to revive the jewelry line, but Carter suggested that was just the morning of his vision. Carter wanted to bring a plethora of brands under the luxury marquee, and got Hope all hyped up about how successful Forrester could be. Hope claimed Carter demanded to run with this with or without Steffy. After Hope prompted Carter to call a meeting, she pushed him to get Eric Forrester and Rich Forrester on board. Since Hope could hear the passion in Carter's voice, she said this was how he was going to leave his mark on the company and the assiduity as a whole. Once Hope expressed how important she believed in Carter and the future he was visioning, they smiled sweetly at each other. Carter's ambitious offer will add to Steffy's fury soon, so stay tuned for all the bad news that's brewing. Steffy Forrester will bear some serious issues with Carter Walton during her coming discussion with Rich Forrester. Steffy formally suggested about some of those issues to Brooke Logan, who assumes this is really about Carter's support of Hope Logan and her line. Still, it's obviously bigger than that since Steffy didn't authorize of Carter's revived jewelry line pitch. Moreover, once Steffy gives Ridge updates on Carter's rearmost move, she'll question his parlous plans and erratic jest. Steffy won't have a lot of faith in Carter's input as a susurrus presently, so she'll open up to Ridge about all the drama. Meanwhile, Ivy Forrester will head to the Forrester manse, where she'll share some disquieting news with Eric Forrester. Of course, Ivy's enterprises will be about Steffy, and how she's letting particular grievances get in the way of doing what's stylish for Forrester Creations. Ivy will bring Eric up to speed on the whole situation, and partake how agitated Electra Forrester was to help out with the jewelry line. Steffy would indeed look at Ivy and Electra's designs, so Ivy will complain and argue that Steffy is holding Forrester Creations back from a veritably profitable future. Eric is relatively fond of Ivy, so he could be tempted to intermediate, especially if she flat out asks him to. Ivy might deliver a sincere request and hope that Eric's willing to stamp Steffy's decision, which would give the jewelry line a real chance at success. Whatever the case, there's more hostility brewing between Carter and Steffy. Carter is gearing up for yet another pitch about his vision for Forrester and the luxury marquee he wants to produce, so Steffy isn't going to be happy about that in the coming occurrences. Carter and Steffy will have another fierce sweepstakes before the week winds down, so stick with us for further prognostications on all the added conflict. Steffy Forrester will eventually yield on giving Ivy Forrester and Electra Forrester a chance to pitch the jewelry line they've been working on. Carter Walton feels like this could help take Forrester Creations to the coming position, since he's all about expansion plans. Steffy would prefer to play it safer, but she'll at least agree to look at Ivy and Electra's work. Despite Steffy's issues with Ivy, there's no denying that she's a talented jewelry developer. Plus, Steffy easily has a soft spot for Electra Forrester now that she's all grown up and working with her aunt. That's why Steffy will check out Ivy and Electra's designs, but her response will get under Carter's skin. It sounds like Steffy will act like the line isn't a good fit for Forrester Creations or maybe complain about the designs acting simple-minded. Steffy may make a bleak vaticination about the jewelry line not dealing well, and want to pass on it without giving it important study. Anyhow, Carter will seethe. Formerly Steffy criticizes what Ivy and Electra have come up with. From where Carter's standing, it'll feel like Steffy isn't keeping an open mind at all. Once presumably Carter switches out at Steffy, he'll articulation to Hope Logan and give her updates on the whole situation. Carter will rant about Steffy being insolvable to deal with, and contend her particular grievances are getting in the way of good business. Electra will have a surprising hassle with Will Spencer, who'll physically impinge into her and apologize for not watching where he was going. Once Will makes sure Electra is okay, and helps her pick up what she's dropped, they'll trade prelusions. Electra and Will's chemistry will sizzle right down, so it looks like they'll both be interested in getting to know each other better. The bold and the beautiful spoilers say Will and Electra indeed have a love coming up, so we'll fill you in on their growing bond and any complicated news along the way.